Good morning. It's bright and early in the morning on day 4 of Let's Make a Sourdough Starter. So I am very excited. This is where the magic happens. This is the day when you start to notice, hey, it's actually working. And you can see the magic of the microorganisms beginning to flourish. And you know that the yeast is now starting to have an environment where it's going to be very, very active. So we're starting to get a nice wild yeast culture. So it's very exciting. I don't feel like it's quite time yet to be able to use the discard for baking, especially not for the regular sourdough starter. For the gluten-free one, we may be able to. We're just going to have a look. So let's go check it out. So as you can see, I have my little nest that I created that's keeping my starters nice and warm. I have a hot water bottle that I've had there overnight, and it wasn't touching it. So when I tested the temperature, it didn't even register, but at least it's not so cold. My countertops are quartz and they are very cold. Let's have a look at Betty, our brown rice starter. Yes, we've got some bubbles happening for sure. So there's definitely some activity. And you can even see the bubbles inside when you look inside here. So we have some activity happening, but again, it didn't rise very much yet, and that's okay as well. The same thing happened yesterday. It had only risen about 0.5 centimeter in the morning. And remember, we discarded all but 30 grams. And we fed it 50 grams. So it's a lot more food now compared to the amount of microorganisms. So it may just take a little bit extra time. So it will, by this evening, have risen quite a bit, but it's not quite ready because it's taking a long time. And it might be because it's cold here. But all we're going to do this morning is give it a stir because we know it's not at its peak activity yet because it hasn't risen very much. I just wanted to give you a quick peek so you can see what each of them look like after being mixed. Here's our sourdough sorghum starter, and you can see its consistency. Here's our brown rice. Much, much, much thinner consistency when it gets mixed. And here is our regular sourdough starter, and you can see the gluten in it. It's very, very different, but it does have thicker consistency like the sorghum starter. One thing I forgot to mention is to remind you to smell your starter and see what it smells like. So let's check it out. Betty, our brown rice starter. So it also smelling a little sweet today. So that's nice. And smelling sweeter than it did before, which is nice. So it's actually starting to smell quite lovely. And I find when you add the pineapple juice, it just actually smells good the whole time. It doesn't get that rotten smell because you are helping to encourage the growth of the microorganisms that you want and to discourage the bad bacteria. And those are the ones that give it that really nasty smell that often causes people to throw out their starter. So that's great. That's it. That's all. Just scrape down the edges to clean your jar, cover your starter back up, double check the height of your elastic, and place it in your snuggly place. And I'd love to know, how is your starter looking on day 4? Please share with us a picture. We would just love to see how everyone's doing. We'll check our starters again this evening. Have a great day, and I'll see you then.